Okay, we're going to get started here. I hope I didn't scare you. I kind of screamed that. Can you guys hear me? Hopefully I didn't scare you. All right, awesome. How is everybody today? Did you guys have a great weekend? I have to quit out of my mail here so it doesn't keep dinging. Did you guys do anything interesting over the weekend? I know it's it just seems like it goes so fast, right? The weekends. You worked on your resume. Oh, depends on if you have fun or not. I know I'm not a big resume person as far as like that is definitely work for me. Could be fun for some people, I guess. Play with your new granddaughter. Congratulations. That's always fun. Well, good. Well, hopefully you guys had some, welcome Julia, had at least some breaks this weekend to just take a deep breath and focus on what we have worked on in week 1. And probably you have, how many of you have a second class or 2 classes this month? You do? Hi, Julia. Yeah, so you're probably balancing everything with life and your 2 classes, which is always it's always fun, right? It keeps you on your toes. I remember when I was a student for my graduate studies and I did it online. It was nice because I could do it at home and I can fit it in with my schedule, but you know, it was kind of stressful for sure. And so I kind of know what you guys are going through. It's stressful, and sometimes you need that stress to kind of get you going. Oh yeah, 9-year-old daughter and work. There you go. Yeah, that'll definitely keep you busy. I've actually had classmates when I was a graduate student that had like 3 or 4 kids and worked full-time jobs and still had, was able to balance the graduate studies online, which was amazing. At the time, I didn't have kids, so I kind of looked up up to them because I don't know how they did it. I mean, that's definitely a big challenge when you have kids, for sure. Yeah, your brain is good. I hear you. It's like I have a 3-year-old daughter, but she keeps me busy for sure. But we, I don't have her all the time now, but she definitely is a handful. But you just kind of have to find your own schedule, and being an online student has its pros with that. So hopefully you guys are finding that as well with all of your other things going on in life. Well, it's great to see you guys in here. Welcome, week 2. We're already in week 2. And how did you guys think week 1 went? What was your thoughts about the color wheel? I know some of you guys are kind of like, well, this is, I've done this before. But maybe just, doing it in Illustrator gives you a little bit more practice with Illustrator and the tools. Good, you learned a lot. Yeah, I think it's a fun exercise. It's not too overwhelming, I don't think. Good, okay. It's not too overwhelming. It's fun. You get to practice with the program and learn about how colors come together. And good. All right, so this week we're gonna be putting that color theory to test with your projects that from now on, from week 2 on to week 4, you guys are going to be working on a collaborative project. You guys are going to be adding on to it. So, kind of an exciting time to start the process of color theory into your projects here. So everything that we learn in week 1 will be applied into week 2. All right. So I'm glad you guys had fun with that. Did you guys have any questions about any of week 1? I know a lot of you guys had some issues with Packback. I know there was a lot of you that did not post to it. And I made an announcement not too long ago saying, if you're having issues, contact me as soon as possible. That's why I'm here. I want you guys to let me know if you're having issues. And I've had a lot of you guys who have emailed me, and I try to guide you through. You like the Packback? Okay. Yeah, some of you guys liked it. Some of you are like, we kind of like the old discussion. So maybe some of you guys are just a little intimidated on how to get in there. Just want to show you real quick for those of you who are having issues getting in here. Let me go to, let me see here. Okay, well, some of you guys liked it. That's good. You like the old discussion. See, everybody, it's a, it's definitely subjective for sure. All right, so how you get in there. Some of you guys might be using a different browser, which might be interfering with trying to get into the actual Packback forum. So if you're having issues, first try a different browser. What I mean by that is your web browser. Try Firefox or Google Chrome, might work better with that. Once you get into Canvas in that browser, go to Packback questions, and you should be able to log in, sign up. So put your email address in there, sign up for it. You shouldn't be able to, there's no fee or anything, it's free. And then you'll be logged in here so that you'll be able to add a question, okay? So, or, respond to your peers. If you can ask a question here, you just click on this ask a question. It starts a new question here. So you'll ask your question related to the discussion. And then what you're going to do is you're going to kind of answer that question in your own words, and also pulling in, your supportive citations that you will also source down here as well. Now, the only thing with Packback that we noticed is, in the old discussion forum, how it was very clear, where week 1 discussion was, and then week 2 was separate discussion. So it was very clear. In Packback, it kind of all runs together. So what I mean by that is when you start a new discussion this week, it's going to run together with the week 1 discussions. So there will be no divider showing, week 1, week 2, week 3. So it's a little confusing when you start to respond to your peers for week 2 possibly. So what you'll have to do is just kind of read through each other's questions and see how they relate to the week 2 discussions. I'm trying to think if there is a way to filter a little bit differently. Yeah, I don't think so. So that's kind of the I guess, one of the cons in terms of trying to be organized and see which discussion is which. But that's what you do. And then, when you're done, you can go back to home, and there you go. You can still, what I want you guys to remember, you can still go into your discussion button on each week. You'll need to do that anyway, because you'll need to read through the background information first in your prompt so that you know what's going on and how to form your question, okay? It's just you won't have an area like we used to in there. If you're having issues, let me know. I'm here for you guys. This is the second time this has been played out in this class, and I think ever. So it's not like everything's going to be perfect. I'm learning too, you guys. I went through training really quickly before they started it, but I'm still learning, new things about it as well. So we'll kind of learn together. All right, so as we go forward into the announcements, we are going to talk about psychology of color this week for week 2. CREP design principles. You guys probably hear this a lot, and there's a reason why we go over things over and over and over again in regards to some of these design principles, is because that's the foundation of what you guys should be going back to each time you approach a project. If you have the foundation right, it's just like a house. It'll be strong. It'll be built strong. You'll have a strong design concept. Overall, your layout will be strong. So you always want to be mindful of that. We're going to do, if we have time, a color review, and then we'll look at the assignment 2. We'll actually do that first, assignment 2 and assessment 2. We'll take a look at that, and discussion. I'll have the discussion in there. We'll talk about the discussion too. All right, and just a little recap too, announcements. Just so you guys know, everything is due before midnight this Saturday, so get that in before you have any type of late, deduction. And if you cannot get your work in by that time, you cannot, say something happened and you can't get your work in, remember you can take advantage of the 1-week grace period. The only thing is you'll have the 20% deduction for that. but it all adds up. So, instead of giving up, might as well get it in and get those late points. But, it's something, it adds on to it. And don't forget the discussions, the daily checkpoints every day is like worth 5 points each time. So it could kind of add up to the point where you're making up for the late fees there, the late deductions. Week 4 assignments, just to let you know, that cannot be turned in late because we need grades in, by a certain time. So that needs to be turned in by that time period. And we'll discuss that week 4. And also, your posts are due by Wednesday, your initial posts. So your initial question in your post is due by midnight on Wednesday. And that's coming up. So make sure you're getting that in there as soon as possible. And your responses to 2 peer posts are due by Saturday before midnight Mountain Time. And don't forget, if you go past that due date, it will not be accepted. I probably will give some of you guys some leeway this past week. If you absolutely could not get into PackBack and you really were having issues, let me know. I can try to be flexible with you, but we're going to try and get on track in week 2 so that we're not having any issues. But you need to reach out to me, okay? So contact me if you did not post a week 1 yet. Let me know so that I can work with you guys. I like to try to be flexible too with you guys as much as I can with this new system. All right, don't forget live sessions are Monday, 12:30 to 2:30 Mountain Time. Multi-sessions are Tuesday, very early. I apologize. It's just how it works with my schedule. So if you're Mountain Time, it's really, really, really early. If you're Eastern Time, like I am, it starts at 8 o'clock. Okay, so it's not too bad. It's still early. That's just how it works with my schedule this coming mod. Don't forget, multi-sessions are not mandatory, but it's a time for you guys to, come in if you have questions and get some extra feedback. So if you need extra help. And then also outside help. If you need outside help, say past that time or before that, Student Success Center is open with tutoring, no appointment necessary. And Christy's schedule, I just posted 2 announcements too. You can do that as well as far as making an appointment with her. All right. So let's take a look at your week 1. Before we go any further, let's go into Canvas. Let's take a look at week 2. I apologize, I said week 1. Man, it's just been a long weekend, or a long week so far, and it's only 1 day, right? Is it the weekend yet? Okay, let's go to week 2. No, I'm just kidding. It hasn't been too bad. So today, or this week, you guys will be walking away with these learning objectives. So you're going to differentiate between spot, Pantone, RGB, and CMYK color models. So you'll know the differences between them. Identify and apply the correct use of swatches and color libraries. Discuss the role color plays in the Big 4 design principles, CRAP. Analyze how color is used to create consistency in a print campaign. And identify and apply correct resolution for print output. You can definitely check this video out there. It's a little short video, about 4 minutes long, on how to find the style in graphic design. And here we go into course media. We're going to go to the next here and look at your discussions. See if you have any questions. We'll go from there. I will not read. You guys read through this background. It's a lot of information. So go ahead and read through there. It basically is going over all of the principles of design, just kind of talking about the importance, the purpose of the principles of design and different in regards to what you guys will be doing going forward here. I'm going to read through the prompt. So you're going to look at the information provided at this website here. So I'm going to click on there. So you're going to read through this. This is how to make great poster design examples. And the reason why you're reading this is you're going to see visual posters that are very inspirational to you guys for your upcoming project. Maybe it's not exactly what you're going to do, but you can be inspired by what you see, maybe the colors, the hierarchy of the elements, proximity, repetition, contrast, the principles of design. You can definitely see that being worked in here with all of these really cool posters. So go and check that out. There's a nice little positive, negative gestalt theory going on here in some of these gestalts. Black and white, negative and positive space. There's Dave Matthews Band. So some really cool posters to check out in here. Okay, so you're going to look at that. Okay, and then you're going to think about the posters in terms of color. So you're going to consider the CRAP, principles of design, to go forward with this discussion. You might also consider questions like, what makes these poster designs great? What makes them work? What makes them effective? By whose standards are these considered great? Who do you believe these would be considered effective to? You know, maybe it's a target market that they're trying to reach. Do you agree that these are great? Maybe not great's probably not the best word here. Do you think that they work? Do you think that they're effective in what they're trying to do? So those are some of the questions that you could definitely tie into your question for the discussion this week. Maybe it's changed in a little bit of a different verbiage, but you know, that's kind of giving you some hints on where you can steer the question for this week. At a minimum, you must submit to the PACBAC community page URL. So one main question that includes a valid question of relevance to the 4 design principles and their impact or implications for your life or future career. And don't forget, you know, it should be 150 words, explaining your thoughts behind the question and some guidance for other students who will be responding. And 1 APA citation and reference, and then you guys have to do 2 replies to questions of other students, and that has to be 50+ words each. Responses can be addressed to any questions, but must be in your own words, so no copying and pasting. Each reply is unique, no repeating something you already said, and substantial in nature. Remember that part of your discussion grade is submitting on time, so that's 20%, and using proper grammar, spelling, etc. Note, you have 10 points of each week are for exceptional curiosity points. So curiosity points are assigned automatically to your questions, and replies are based on a combination of factors, including word count and post quality. So, you know, try to aim towards getting your curiosity points up there in points so that you guys are getting as much as you can, not only point-wise, but from the discussion itself. All right, so do you have any questions about that? Reading through this background also will help you kind of tailor your question, I think, and will kind of make more sense once you go through the prompt again. Okay, pretty easy. All right. All righty then. You guys are easy. All right, let's go forward into the psychology of color. There's a lot of psychology that goes into design itself. Color is just one big element of design that we use. It's very, very persuasive, very impactful. It could say a lot without even saying anything. It's just color, you know, it has its own connotations sometimes. So there's a lot of psychology behind what we do. We need to know when to use, you know, the elements, when to use them, and how to use them properly so that we're not, not using them inappropriately. So according to research compiled by web design and marketing company WebXFX, people make a subconscious judgment about a product in less than 90 seconds of viewing. And a majority of these people base that assessment on color alone. Isn't that crazy? I mean, that's how persuasive color is to people. So that's pretty powerful for sure. And it says, in fact, almost 85% of consumers cite color as the primary reason they buy a particular product, and 80% of people believe color increases brand recognition. So how important is that when you're thinking about a logo? Pretty important, right? I mean, if you got the wrong color, or maybe a color that doesn't quite align with the brand, I mean, that could definitely affect, make or break the logo, but also the brand, you know. There's colors, you know, in the United States, you use certain colors for certain things, and then globally, you got to watch, you don't use a certain color for that, and, you know, you have to be very mindful, and that's why color theory is such a great class to take, because it kind of gives you a good idea of the appropriateness of color and how to use them in harmony, and when not to use a certain color based on the background and connotations of that color. So it's pretty powerful. And we need to be very aware of that when we're applying it to our designs. You know, we don't want to use it ineffectively. All right, so let's take a look at red. I know you guys probably have had a color theory class, which kind of covered the same thing, but we'll just go over very quickly. The primary colors, one is red, and that has the emotions and personality effects, politics, marketing, and just a little side thing there. If you guys know what chakras are, I'll kind of go through it here in a second. It's pretty much based on your central nervous system in your body, so it's more medical oriented. So personality and emotions, red evokes strong emotions. Know that. So it encourages appetite. If you're a restaurant or something that you think that would align well with your brand, you know, you see McDonald's, Burger King, they all use red in there, right? At some point. Secondary colors increases passion and intensity. So think about, you know, the Red Cross. That was something that evokes emotions. You know, you want to help people. Red Cross is a good example of a logo that uses red. Red roses symbolize love. So red kind of really taps into emotions in a person. Politics worldwide represents socialist parties or communists. Interesting. And then in the US, used for Republicans. Yeah, roses, there you go. Marketing increases heart rate. So if you're looking for something exciting, you really want to get the blood pumping for someone, this brand is very exciting and you want it to be like, you know, on point, you know, maybe using red is definitely something that's appropriate. Used by restaurants to stimulate appetite, creates urgency, often seen in clearance. You know, you walk into a store, you see red tags or maybe words in red saying sale, you know, it kind of gets you excited. Used for impulsive shoppers. I don't know about you guys. I have definitely been there before. So marketing, you know, using red, you'll see it. Be more aware of that around you when you go into a store. Okay, so the chakras, this is considered the root chakra, down at the base, located at the base of your spine and related to survival, safety, and physical self, which really ties into it, all of these other points here. So survival, safety, and physical self is the root chakra. Here are some red logos that, you know, you can take a gander at and see what the brands are all about. You know, Nintendo, McDonald's, Target, Kmart. There's a lot that you use, and some of them have a combination of yellow and red, or black. Interesting to say the least. A lot of them are food related, food or drink, or even cars. Neat. The next one is yellow, and the personality and emotions behind that is increases cheerfulness and warmth. So if you wanted to really kind of make this feeling of cheerfulness, you want to use yellow within your layout. Causes fatigue and strain on eyes, so you have to make sure you're not using it too much in some ways, so moderation. Makes babies cry, so don't paint your nursery all yellow. Just a little FYI there. Stimulates mental processes and nervous system, and encourages communication. I don't know if you guys remember the little yellow notepads that actually, the paper is actually yellow and it has lines on it. That's actually meant to be that way because it encourages your processes of your mental creativity. So it's kind of a neat thing to, maybe you never knew that, but that's why they made that yellow. Represents in politics, liberalism. Marketing represents optimism and youthfulness. It used to grab attention of window shoppers and shows clarity. And then in the whole medical side of it, chakra, solar plexus chakra is represented in yellow, located in the upper abdomen. I'm going to say that wrong. Between navel and sternum, abdomen, related to personal power, will, and self-esteem. Kind of interesting. Here's some yellow logos that we can take a look at here. IKEA, McDonald's is on there again, Shell, National Geographic, Best Buy. All those brands there. And the last one is blue. We're just looking at primary colors. Blue is used a lot too. Personality and emotions associated with water and peace. Most preferred by men. Represents calmness and serenity. It curbs appetite, so it does the opposite of what red does. It's known as a cold color. It increases productivity and used in office settings. Politics worldwide represents conservative parties, and then the US used for Democrats. And marketing, often used in corporate business because it's productive and non-invasive and creates a sense of security and trust in a brand. So if you have a brand that's wanting to convey that very strongly, you might want to go with a more blue approach and color scheme. Chakra, throat chakra, base of throat, relates to communication, truth, and self-expression. So if you're thinking about that medically, that's where that's at, and the chakras there. Here's some blue logos that definitely can be aligned to that. Trustworthiness. What else? Oh, what else do we say? I'm going forward here. Sorry, guys. Trustworthiness, preferred by men, curbs appetite, cool color, increases productivity. I know Facebook doesn't increase productivity for most of us, but maybe on Facebook. But yeah, you can definitely take a look at these and say, okay, yeah, I know these are all very well-known brands using the color blue. Okay, so those are kind of some psychology behind some of the colors, just the primary colors, just to think about as you go forward with your projects this week. CRAP, Principles of Graphic Design. We'll do a little review here. I know you guys know what this is, but we'll go over review. C is for contrast, so if two elements are different, make those differences striking. You see this Mad Men example down here. It's showing the positive, negative approach. It's definitely very contrasted. And it really works because it's such, it's just complete opposites, and it pops off the page. You can read it very quickly, and it works for the appropriateness of the series there. Repetition is R. Use repeated elements to direct, organize, and structure. So think about that. You guys will be designing a poster coming up, so you might want to think about how you can utilize contrast, repetition within your poster. And then also alignment. This is a big one. So line up elements to create visual structure. A lot of students have a little difficulty with this. And just make sure that, if you're going with a grid layout, that everything is aligned appropriately. And that doesn't mean it has to be centered all the time. You can have, 1/3 alignment, grid structure. But there's a reason why the elements are where they are. They should have a purpose on where they line up, or else they're just going to look like they are floating around on the page and don't have purpose. They're just smack on there last minute. So you want to make sure you're organizing your elements in a grid if that's kind of what you're going for, and aligning them appropriately together so that they're organized. And proximity is the last one. P, clump together related elements so that their spatial relationships organize and emphasize. And that's just kind of grouping the important parts together so they're not just floating around the page and hard to read and hard to see together. That helps us kind of view something in a way that it's as clear as possible visually and verbally. And that's our job as designers. We need to make sure that there's a pathway for the viewer to look at. We need to make sure that they know where to look at first, they know where to look at second, and it's a clear way to follow the elements on the page. Or else, people may not even want to look at it if it looks like it's too hard to follow. So they might just turn away and not look at it, and it's not effective. So as designers, we have principles of graphic design that we need to adhere to so that our designs are not turning people away from, wanting to look in further. Of course, you can make a beautiful layout, but it might not work based on certain things. And one of them could be proximity. It might be hard to see, hard to follow, hard to read. Okay, so graphic design tips and tricks going forward. Just think about when you go and do your upcoming projects here, you want to make sure that you limit the number of fonts on your page. You don't want to use, I would say, no more than 2 different fonts. You might want to stick with a font family, and what that means is a font that has many different other style of that font, that same font. So it can be like italicized, condensed, bold, black of that font. That way you can have differentiation. You can have some, breaking up of your type in different ways, but it's the same font and doesn't look disconnected because, it's the same typeface, just different stylistic, application to it. So if you have too many different typefaces, there's going to be a disconnect. There's going to be no consistency. People are going to look at that and be confused. So make sure you limit that. Text on top of a high contrast background is difficult to read. Keep that in mind too. KISS, keep it simple, stupid. Keep simple can be beautiful. A lot of the times this is kind of a learning thing, Julia, should we not use the typeset fonts? Are they able to be printed or used for things other than school? You can use them. I believe that your type kit, yeah, you can use them. Yep. I don't see why that would be a problem. As long as you can, yeah. It said they weren't supported. Where did it say that? Notification. Oh, when you went to go package your file. That's okay. Okay, so if you're having problems with that, what you might need to do, I'm trying to think. You might need to outline your fonts before you package them. Okay. Do you know how to outline your fonts, your typeface? Okay. What you'll need to do is kind of like save two versions of it. Save your original version without your outlining of type, and then save it as outline of type, and then go ahead and do a select all, and then go up to type, create outlines. If you did it in Illustrator. If you did it in InDesign, it might be a little different process. But Illustrator, that's kind of how you can kind of work around that situation. Does that make sense? Okay, it was in InDesign again. In that regards, you might have to do other typefaces that are similar to the ones that you're doing in Typekit in order to package out. That's something that I'd have to look more into, but you might be able to create outlines in InDesign. I just have to look it up. I know Illustrator has that option. I'm not quite sure if InDesign does. I'll have to look at that. Get back to you on that. Okay, so yeah, so just think about the number of fonts on your page. Just don't go too crazy. Colors, limit your colors too. You want to make sure you pick a color, choose a color scheme, go with that you think that works for your brand and also for your mark. High color values are high contrast, but also easy to class. So make sure you're limiting your colors. You're not going to use too many colors, and you're choosing a color scheme that goes with not only the brand mark, but also the actual identity pieces as well, like your poster, and you guys are going to be doing a brochure coming up as well. So think about how those colors will play out when you go into those two different identity pieces. I know I had some students that used a really bright yellow in their logo mark. It was really hard to see, and then they went into to design their poster and their brochure, and the yellow that was too bright worked in some cases but didn't in a lot of different cases. So you really want to make sure that you're using the appropriate color that's going to be readable and contrasted well. Okay, stand out. Make your designs unique, distinct, and easily recognizable. So think about all the brands that are recognizable, even just with the icon. A lot of these names here, Nike, Apple, they don't even have their name with them anymore. They are so recognizable. they can be viewed as an icon and everybody knows globally who they are. Simple and recognizable. Now, of course, you know, a lot of brands don't start out that way, especially startups. You know, you have to have the name in there with the mark. But we're talking about keeping it simple, keeping it unique, distinct, and easily recognizable as far as your designs. Okay. Let's talk about spot versus process color. Before we get in here, I'm going to skip through here or go back. So, do you guys know the differences between spot color and process? Somebody said, if a client came to you and said, what's spot color, what would you say? You say, I don't know, let me go Google it, right? Or maybe you're Googling it now. Okay, that's okay. You don't know what you don't know, and that's why you're here. So spot color is basically a pre-mixed ink, like Pantone processing, Pantone matching system, PMS, is a type of spot color, and it's a pre-mixed ink. That means the printer has to mix that ink together in a special way so that it comes up with that color, instead of the CMYK process, which are the plates that come together to make you know, printing process as far as that goes. So spot colors are created without screens or dots, such as those found in the Pantone matching system. And they're referred to in the industry as spot or solid colors. So you might hear someone say spot or solid, and that's what that means. So from a palette of 18 basic colors, so you're talking about 18 basic colors, each of those spot colors in the Pantone matching system is mixed according to its own unique ink mixing formula developed by Pantone. You probably mixed yellow and blue paint to get green in your youth, so creating a Pantone spot color is similar in concept, but with added need for precision. So each color in the system has a unique name or number followed by either C, the letter C, or the letter U. The letter suffix refers to the paper stock on which it is printed. So C is for coated paper. That's what it would look like on coated paper. And U would be uncoated paper because they look different. Some of the colors look way different on coated and uncoated. Also created without screens. So CMYK is created with screens, but this isn't. Pantone, you could do metallics and pastel colors. So Pantone metallic and pastel colors are considered part of the Pantone matching system. So those are all special inks. And due to the gamut of the 18 basic colors, some spot colors will be cleaner and brighter than if they were created in the 4-color process developed in the next slide. So spot colors are commonly used in corporate logos and identity programs and in 1, 2, or 3-color jobs. So there's the Pantone book there. If you ever see one of those are definitely standard in an advertising agency. You might have one at home. I don't know, they're pretty expensive. Maybe you had someone give it to you or something. That's kind of cool. But those are all the pre-mixed inks. They all have their own numbers. And on the left side and the right side, the left side usually is the coated and the right side is uncoated, or vice versa. I can't remember. I don't have one in front of me. But usually they're split into 2, so you can tell if you have a client that's going to print on uncoated paper, you want to make sure that the color is right on, you know, or the color is right for that. And Pantone colors are great for logo creations because with a client that's very picky with color, because it will never change. No matter where it's printed, that color will always stay the same as far as, you know, once it's printed. And when you do it in CMYK, the process color, it may shift on the press. It may look a little different in different types of applications when you're doing CMYK. So CMYK process colors, that's what we're talking about. So we just talked about spot, so let's talk about process colors. So the most, if you heard a client say, I want this in process colors, the most common method of achieving color in printing is referred to as CMYK, so 4-color process is what that's called. Or you might see it as 4-C process, or even just process. People might say that. Different wordage for that, but all means the same. To reproduce a color image, a file is separated into 4 different colors. So you'll have cyan, magenta, yellow, and black. During separation, screen tints comprised of small dots are applied at different angles to each of the 4 colors. The screen separations are then transferred to 4 different printing plates, 1 for each color, and run on a printing press with 1 color overprinting the next. The composite image fools the naked eye with the illusion of continuous tone. If you guys had, and I always used to do this when I taught on ground, I had a little loop, and the loop is a little magnifying glass that you put on your eyeball. And it's a special thing that you can look very closely at paper, things printed. So I used to pass around a loop with my students, and I would give them a sample of a spot color that we just talked about, the Pantone color. Give them an example of what that looks like, and then a second example of what a process color looks like, and they would look under the loop. So when they would look under the loop, the little magnifying glass, if they're looking at the spot color, which is the Pantone color, you can't see those dots. You can't see those dots that you would normally see in the process color. It's just one flat color. But when you look at the other one, say a newspaper is a good example of something that you don't even need a loop for. When you look at it, you can actually see the dots representing the image from just looking at it. But if you had the loop and looked at, say, a magazine cover, you'll see the dots in there that maybe you didn't see before, and that's the process color. So there's times when you need to convert spot to process. There will be times when you have a job that, you had something like a Pantone color being used, and you now have to print it all CMYK. So it has to be converted. So how do you do that? So oftentimes a spot PMS color is requested when creating a process printed piece. So to save money, the spot color should be evaluated to see how it will look if printed in CMYK. While some colors can be simulated well, there are many that are outside the possible color gamut for that process and will look quite different. As the quality of resulting color conversion is very subjective, the designer can make decisions using the Pantone color guide as well as the Pantone extended gamut. So what does that mean? And I've been in this situation before. I've had clients that had a logo that they wanted in a specific Pantone color, but they didn't want to pay for the extra money when they put it in a brochure with all the other process colors. They just said, you know what, just print it all process. It's okay. Convert that logo into process. So that means I needed to convert the spot so that it was CMYK, so that they wouldn't get charged for the two different color systems. So when you do that, the color of the logo may change. It probably will, especially if it's blue, because it's 2 different processes. So what I did, and what this is telling you too, you take that Pantone book out. Some of the Pantone books will even show you, and you could get an extra book to show you this too. It might not be the one that I just showed you in the last slide, but it could be a conversion book where it shows you, okay, this is what the Pantone color looks like, spot color looks like, but then this is how it will look when it's process color. So you might see a huge shift in color possibly. So if that were the case, all you need to do is flip through your process book, your CMYK process book, and get as close as you can to that spot color. So you might need to change the color. And I did that so many times just to get as close as I can to that color, that spot color that's being converted. And I'll show you how to convert as we go forward here. Pantone color picker. So this is what you do when you go to look for your Pantone color. So if a client came to you and said, I want this logo to be in this specific Pantone color, so you're having it's called a spot color too. What you would do, and this is in Illustrator, find the Pantone color, copy the color code, and find it in Illustrator. So you go up to Window on your menu bar, go to Swatches, open up your open up your swatches, open Swatch Library. You can also go, excuse me, oh, I'm getting like lightheaded here. I had a little quick yawn there. When you go up to Window as well on your menu bar, will also take you down to your swatches. Go to Color, open Swatch Library, Color Books, Pantone Solid Coated C, or Pantone Solid Uncoated U. You'll see. I will show you this when I do the demo so you guys can understand where this is at a little bit better. But visually, you can see on the right here is kind of explaining to you how to find it as well. So you can go to your swatches, window swatches, or you can just go to window and then go all the way down to the Pantone color. Any questions about that? I'm going to go over your assignment here real quick. How long have I been talking? So it's okay. Why don't we take a 5-minute break before we go on so you guys can get some sugar in your system or something. I'm going to get some sugar too. We'll be back in 5 minutes, and then I'm going to go over your assignment 2, and we'll do a demo. Does that sound good? Awesome. All right, see you guys back here in 5 minutes. Okay, we're back. 5 minutes is up, goes quick. Let's move on to the next thing on our list, which is the assignment 2. You guys will be creating a color scheme. So you're going to be applying what you learned in week 1. You will create 2 color schemes for the Aqua Excursions logo that's given to you in the assignment instructions, and I'll show you guys. You're gonna, one is gonna utilize 2 colors. So you're gonna have one logo utilizing 2 colors and the other utilizing 3 colors. So you're gonna have 2 logos. One is gonna be 2 color, the other one's gonna be 3 color. You're going to download the black and white Aqua Excursions logo, utilize Pantone colors to create 2 different color combinations that are effective solutions for the kayak industry. Create 2 sets of boxes and fill each box with your chosen colors. You're going to duplicate your swatches and convert the colors to CMYK. You're going to apply the CMYK values of each theme to the black and white logo you downloaded. Any questions about that part? And I'll be going over this in a second here too. Okay. And then there's a second part to this, so don't forget, you're gonna write 150 to 200 word rationale in Word that explains the reasons why you chose the colors in each theme. Okay. So, you know, that seems like a lot of words, but think about how you can support it with citations. Maybe you're bringing in your supportive reasoning outside as far as a resource that you found outside, putting in those facts and then supporting it with your own words of why you used it for that brand, that particular brand. Aqua Excursions. So think about, this is, you know, a brand that offers water type of activities for people, you know, maybe on vacation, outdoorsy type stuff. Citations are not required, but if you needed to supplement your paper with something, that would be helpful. If you cite if you put something in there that's not in your own words, obviously you have to cite it. Okay, APA format, so. All right, and then you'll save both of these, so you'll have a Word doc and then you'll have a PDF that you'll be zipping together and submitting. Okay, so let's take a look at the actual Canvas instructions here. So we're going to go to assignment 2. Okay, and they actually have examples in here too. So what you're going to do is you're going to read through this, which we kind of did in a quick way here. There's also a blog on how to make great logo color selections here, so you might want to check this blog out before you start deciding on what color scheme that you want to go with. And this will kind of help you understand, you know, the brands that are out there and why they use certain colors, the reason behind that. Kind of like what we went over very quickly, you know, the meanings behind each one and visual examples of each. So that's kind of a nice resource there. Okay, so once you choose a color palette, it's important to remember that different media demand different color systems. So for example, promotional products like mugs and pens most often use the Pantone color system or simple spot colors, where websites use RGB colors and full color printing uses CMYK. So when choosing logo colors, a designer has to make sure that the colors translate from Pantone to CMYK to RGB with low to no color variations. That's something you have to think ahead about. Okay, so go ahead and read through the rest of this. The prompt here is, for this assignment, you will create 2 color schemes for the Aqua Excursions logo, one utilizing 2 color and the other 3. So here's the logo. You'll click on here and you'll download it. Here are all the other directions here. So let me download this. It's an AI file, so it should be, once you download it, it should open up, or you should be able to open it up in Illustrator. So let's go ahead and open that up while I'm reading through here. Create a new 8.5 by 11 Adobe Illustrator document. So let's go ahead and do that. And I'll just like read through the rest of this. I'm going to share my screen here in a sec. Stop stop sharing. This is the logo that I just downloaded. So it'll open up like this. But what we want to do, we want to create a new document. So file new. So we'll keep this up here. And just make sure your preferences, your units and increments are in inches. And that can be changed over here. So mine's in inches. And you can either type in 8.5 by 11. You might have 8.5 by 11 here as a sub preset. Choose create. And there you go. So this is your document. And then go ahead and save it. Your appropriate name for the class. Assignment 2, first and last name. Okay. So what you're going to do, you're going to go back to that file that you downloaded originally. So this up here in this tab. You select all, which is a Command A if you're in a Mac, Command C for copy, and then a Command V for paste. Now, one of the most important things to remember, do not stretch this. I've had students that do this and this. And the big no-no about doing this is because you're taking, you're degrading the logo. You're taking, you know, this is, if you see the logo in any other way than what it's supposed to be originally, it's taking away the recognition. So when you see it stretched, when you see it distorted, even if it's a little bit, you're degrading the brand. It's not being looked at the same way. So you either want to hold down the Shift key before you start pulling out the bounding box if you wanted to make it bigger, or with it all selected, you're going to go into Illustrator. In the toolbar is the scale tool. And if you hold down the S key, if you just click on the S key on your keyboard, it'll go right to it. What you want to do is just double click over top of that scale tool, and you can uniformly scale this, if you have uniform here, to the size that you want. So if you want it larger, type in 150, you can hit preview, and it'll show you what it looks like. And that does it uniformly. So you're not distorting it in any way, okay? When you're done with that, just click on Alt and then drag down another copy. So you have two being shown here. You kind of center them on the page. And then you'll want to take your square and do your boxes. Okay, so just create your one box, hold the Shift key down with that box, the rectangle, I should say. We'll make the little square. Now once you have one, just pull over another copy. And if you have your Smart Guide, sorry. So if you go up to View and you select Smart Guides and then Snap Point, that'll help you align these a little bit better because it'll tell you when they're perfectly aligned. But you can also use your Align tool, tools up here as well. That looks pretty good. So I'm going to do a 4 because this is 2 color on the top, which would be your Pantone, 2 color on the bottom, which would be your CMYK conversion. So I'm going to Alt drag this down here, and I'm just going to Alt drag out another copy of this because this is a 3 color. So this one will be 2 color, and this will be 3 color. Does that make sense to you guys? The only difference, the top colors will be Pantone, the bottom colors will be CMYK conversion. And I'll show you how to do that. Okay. I'm just going to pull these a little further apart so there's a little bit more space in between here. That looks pretty good. Okay. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to go and do your research, try to figure out what colors, what color looks best. Remember how I said you can go up to, let's open up your swatches first. Let's go Window Swatches. You can actually go into your swatch palette. Oops, I just deleted it. On the upper right-hand corner, you can click on this little lines going down icon, and then go down to Open Swatch Library, and you can go to your color books. You can't see this. Let me pull this over here. Open Swatch Library, color books. And here, there's a whole bunch here, but just kind of focus on your Pantone CMYK coded or your coded here. I would probably just choose the Pantone solid coated for now. These ones we don't really have to worry about. Let's just do that first. So solid coated. And when you click on that, it'll bring up your solid coated, all of your solid coated colors. Okay, so for your 2 color, you could select your 1 square here and choose a color that you believe would go the best with that. Now I'm going to try like a teal color here. One that has, you know, definitely some contrast in it. And maybe this one is more of a gold color. Okay. Now, these are the Pantone colors. So if I were to double click on here, the Pantone color is shown here in your color picker. Okay, so that's where you would see that. It also is up here in your swatch palette, whatever ones that I clicked on. I think this one, I'm going to delete that one here. So I think I chose a different, oops, can't do that. Trash that, okay. Now, notice how these have like a little, I don't know if you guys can see that, a little triangle at the bottom, a little dot. That means that these are Pantone colors. And if you highlight, kind of hold your cursor over the 2, it'll actually tell you what numbers they are. So 322C is the green one and 605C is the yellow one. Now when we convert these, let me duplicate this. I'm going to drag this down. I'm going to make a copy of each one of these. Okay, so here's spot colors. What we can do when we convert these, we can double click right on top of them on the actual swatch in your swatch palette. This is how you convert them, okay? So it's now a spot color where it says color type. We want to change that to process color. And then preview, add that preview. Okay, this should be, sorry, that should, I'm going to put that back to lab color. As long as you change that to process color, you're good. Click OK. Now watch what happens. You have no dot under there now. So that's going to change. Actually, this probably will have to change to CMYK. Click OK. There you go. Now, it's going to give you the name still, but you can definitely change this. If you know, obviously, this will definitely need to be changed. I don't know why this is changing the CMYK. I am going to change this back to lab. I think that's probably the best bet. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're just going to say aqua yellow, and you can give the coordinates for this. You go to CMYK, you know, just kind of round them up. So 14, 13, 100, and 0. You don't have to, but that's just, you know, if you wanted to rename it. And then that way you can see it very easily. Double click on this. Process color, CMYK, aqua green, 135. And I'm just rounding it to whatever the number is. Like, okay. Now, if they changed in color, let's see if they change in color. I'm going to select this one under here. I'm going to make it that CMYK green and CMYK yellow. Let's see if it changed color here. Not too bad. It's not too bad. You definitely can't tell. It's pretty close. But yeah, you definitely can tell. What I want you guys to do too is, you know, I want you guys to save this as an AI file when you go ahead to save this out. So I can go in and actually look at your file. I think it says it saves it as a PDF in your actual description. So you can save it as a PDF, but I would also add your AI file so that I can go in and check to see what your CMYK and your Pantone colors are. Okay, so now what I'll do, Let me go to my swatches here. Oh, where they go? Swatches. Just let them go here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this in my Pantone color. So I'm going to choose my actual Pantone colors for this 2-color example. Okay, so that's how that would be done. Let's do the second one. So now I'm going to look at these colors as being something different. So let's try, I'm going to try like a deep red for this one, just something different. And then maybe like a darker blue and like a gray. Okay, so each of these are my colors that I just picked out, and they just added them to my swatches right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy each one of these. But before I do that, I'm going to change it to process. CMYK. There you go. Aqua red. 9, 178, 1. Same thing here. And this is blue. Blue, 100, 64, 37, 20. And one more. Aqua gray, 52, 53, 58, 23. Let's see if they change. So let me change this to my CMYK that I just transferred that to. I think those changed. Oh, I forgot to copy those. Yeah, so let me change that back. Let's move this over. Yeah, I think I am by accident. What I need to be doing is I need to pull down and make a copy this way. So let me make a copy here. I did that wrong. Let me make it back into spot color. Okay, I just have to rename this. You know what? I actually should have dragged it down here to make a copy. When I double clicked on it, it actually saved over it. So I kind of did it wrong. So don't kind of follow my steps in that regards. So I apologize. Let me just make sure that these are the same. Okay. Yeah, so I'll show you what I did. Let me trash this. Instead of double clicking like I just did, you'll just drag it down here and make a copy. And then when you're ready to convert, you double click on them to convert them to process. Because you need to convert each one of these. My apologies. There you go. Okay. So now let's change on to these colors. That blue kind of changed a little bit. I'll show you just very slightly, and it might be hard to see on here. This blue changed just a little bit. Just a little more flat looking, but very close in color. Okay, so now I'm going to make this logo the Pantone colors that I picked out here. So let me see. So the ones with the dots in them is kind of what you want to focus on. Okay, and these are two different color schemes for sure. But you know, this is kind of what I'll be looking for down here. You know, how you converted that. Okay, so I should be able to click in here and see, based on your swatches, if they were converted. You'll see that little dot disappear, you know, for your CMYK, and the ones should have the dots and the triangles. Tops are Pantone colors, bottoms are CMYK conversion of those two colors. And then you could just make the logo whatever spot colors that you have on the top. save it as the AI file here, and then also export as a PDF. And I want you to have both files in there so that I can access that. Oops, sorry, not export, just do a file save as. I'm in my InDesign mode there. So I'll be able to see your flat file, but I'll also be able to access your Illustrator file to know that if you did it correctly or not, okay? So that's the purpose of that. So let me share my screen real quick. Desktop, don't mind my messiness here. So I have two files, and you're gonna have a second one, or a third one, which will be your Word file, the second part of the project. So you have three files, and you'll just select them all and do a Control-click if you're on a Mac. Control-click and do a compress your three items. When you zip them into one folder, all three files, go ahead and just name them your last name, the actual zipped folder. You don't want to have a lot of underscores, spaces, a real long name for your zip folder. Sometimes that'll, it might not upload your file correctly, or I might not be able to open it because of the file name. So keep it simple, your last name. Once I open this, I'll see that you named your files appropriately, because it'll, you know, it'll show here once I unzip it. Okay, so just like a little FYI there. You know, some students do that, and I can't open their files because they have like 30 letters in their file name with like underscores and all kinds of stuff, okay? Okay, so that kind of, I went through all of that. That should be pretty clear. I don't know if you guys have any questions about that. Let me know, and I can review anything that you want me to. We'll go on to your assessment here if you guys are ready to go. You're good to go, right? Okay. So your assessment now, and you might want to look at this ahead of time before even choosing a color scheme for your logo, because this is going to be where you place your chosen logo. You're going to be placing it on a poster. You're going to create a poster. Okay. So go ahead and read through the beginning background. The prompt I'll read through here. We'll kind of do a little demo. So using the strongest, most viable color theme from your logo assignment this week, create a poster that will promote the Aqua Excursion Sunset Paddle Adventure. You must incorporate the following. So you must have the final color Aqua Excursions logo. Choose your strongest color combination and create a file in Illustrator of this logo alone. So you'll put it on like a separate artboard. Crop tightly, CMYK, and I'll show you how to do that. Up to 2 images from the zipped file you'll have to have, and those can be accessed there, downloaded. The headline should say Sunset Paddle Adventure. Body copy is, you can copy and paste it there. Call to action should be somewhere on there as well. You must do this in InDesign. The finished size is 11 by 17 inches. Bleed size is 0.25, and color space is CMYK. Pre-press requirements. So all images converted to CMYK. I'll show you how to do that. Actually, let me open up Photoshop while I'm reading this so you guys aren't waiting there for me to open it. All images placed at correct resolution for print, so 300 pixels per inch at 100%. That's for printing purposes. All spot colors converted to CMYK. Live area applied properly. No important text or elements too close to the trim edge. Bleeds correctly implemented. A document packaged for print. You can name your file accordingly for the assessment too. You're going to export the InDesign file to press quality PDF. You're going to include crop marks and bleeds. Note that this is a different setting than print quality. So I'll show you how to do that. Package the InDesign file and zip the package folder in InDesign Crates. Make sure that there are no errors in the report. If there are, fix them or repackage for submission. You're going to submit the press quality PDF with the file name as set as such, and then submit the zipped package folder. Don't forget to save the original InDesign file. So if you need to go back and make changes, you know, it's not a big deal. Any questions about that? I'm going to go over this in a second here so that you guys can see how to approach this. I know there's a lot of information in here, so I'll try to break it down for you guys here. Let me open up my folder. My Photoshop is opening right now, so that's why I'm kind of a little slow. All right, so let's go to your assessment 2. I might have an example to show you here too, so you guys can get an idea of what we're doing. All right, so here's the example of what a final, except for the headline and the body copy. The copy isn't quite done here. I should have probably pulled an example from the last class. Let me do that. If you guys give me 1 minute here, I can grab an example from a past class here. So that way you guys can see what other people have done. And I meant to grab some too here. Give me 1 second. Okay, it might take me a little while because some of these students zip these. Oh yeah, you should zip them. So that's probably why they're zipped. Okay. Just take a little longer to unzip them and stuff like that, but get some examples here. If I click on the right one, I clicked on the assignment. There we go. All right. Find a good example here, you guys. Okay, here's a good example. I'm going to download this one so you guys can see it. And I'll just use this one as an example since it's taking me longer than I thought. All right, let's go back here. 1 second. So this is what one student had submitted last mod for this particular poster. And I thought it came out pretty good. So that's a good example. You guys see that? So what you'll do, it is nice. What you'll do is you'll choose the image that you think is the good focal point. I would make it so it's like the biggest thing on the page, bleeding off on all 4 sides. The only difference is this is not showing bleeds on here, so you need to show bleeds on yours, and I'll show you how to do that. So if yours looks like this on the trim edge, that's not correct. You need to have bleeds. So you have the logo, make sure that works. Within, you know, you're gonna have to make sure that logo that you choose, that color scheme works on your color photo. The headline is, you know, provided, so, you know, obviously that has to be big. It's okay if it's larger than the logo. The logo can actually be a little smaller here. because you definitely see it. It doesn't have to be the first thing that you see. Think about the level of importance. Now, of course, you want to see the logo, but the headline is probably what's the focal point of the image is what's going to pull you in, and then the headline you want to see second, and then everything else kind of falls into place. And you have your body copy. The body copy should be small. Remember, it's a poster. It doesn't have to be huge. I don't want to see text that's over 13 points. It shouldn't be huge. This can be bigger, your visit, your call out sentence here, but this is nicely done, nicely spaced out. So it's a good example. Okay, with that being said, let me go ahead and grab the InDesign file. What you would do is you would start out in Illustrator. You would choose the logo that you think would work best going forward. Okay, so say I'm going to choose this one. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to make a new document in Illustrator. Maybe. Let's see if it's slowing me down here. I'm probably going to do 4 inches by, oops, 4 inches by 2. And then paste. That's pretty good. Might have to make it a little smaller. Hold the shift key down, make it a little smaller in this spot. What I want to make sure of is I want to make sure that these are all converted. Oops. So I want to convert all these spot colors to process. Oops. Okay, so these should all be converted now. Get rid of this. Save as, and I would save this as Aqua Final Logo. As an AI file, I'll just save it on my desktop. And then I would save it as, or export as. So go to File, Export As. And I would choose the TIFF file. Now the TIFF file is usually the good final logo file format that will not compress your file to take out any pixel information. It's going to be the highest quality file format that you want your logo to be in. Now this is where your color model, you'll need to change this to CMYK. You want that, make sure that says high 300 pixels per inch. That can be similar, LZW compression if you want that, click on that. We'll be talking about that as we go forward. And you're gonna save it as a TIFF file. It might take a little while, possibly, I don't know. I think my system's just dragging here because I'm doing a million things in the background. Okay, once you're done with that, we're gonna go into InDesign. And here's InDesign. Sorry, it's a little lagging here, guys. So that's why I'm taking a little longer to open some stuff up here. Let me reset my essentials. So all my tab, there we go, gets cleaned up. Okay, so I'm in InDesign. And I want to follow the instructions here in as far as the size and everything goes. Let me open the assessment back up so I can follow along here. Okay, so finished size is 11 by 17. So I want to go File, New Document. And I want to do no faces and pages, so just click off that. We don't need that. Number of pages 1, start with 1. 11 by 17 is where you'll put the width is 11 and the height is 17. Put your bleed in. Down here it says bleed and slug, 0.125 and click on this link, and that'll kind of link the top, bottom, left, and right. It'll create this bleed line, which is indicated by that red line there, and that'll be where your any type of color block or image that you want to kind of bleed out. Click OK. Okay, so this is the size. Color space is CMYK, which I believe we start out in RGBs. Let me see what the color model is here. Hold on. Color settings. Oh, not there. What is the color settings here? Here's the mode. Okay, I think we'll probably worry about that when we actually export this out. So we'll kind of pay attention to that. I think there is the color settings, convert to profile. I think we're in RGB right now, but we can convert to CMYK here in a second once we're done. So we'll take a look at that. Okay, so we'll worry about that when we're converting to your PDF here. Okay, CMYK color space. All images converted to CMYK. So what you're going to do is you're going to go back to your, I'm going to go back here to Canvas. Okay, you're going to go back and you're going to click on the Sunset Paddle Images to download. When you download, you'll see a folder like this. And it should say Assessment 2 Images, and then here's all the images here. So you can scroll through here and check out all of these before you go forward. Okay, choose one that you think would be best. You might need to play around with a couple of them before you decide on one, especially with the logo, you know, what color you decide to do. I'm going to take the rectangle frame tool and I'm going to take it all the way up to the upper left-hand corner of my trim, my bleed trim, I should say, all the way down to the very bottom right, because I want my focal image to bleed off on all 4 sides. I'm going to let go of that and do Command D, which is a file place. And I'm going to go back and find that. I'm going to have to go through here. Sorry, guys. To Assessment 2. Those images. I'm going to do the Sunset 6 one. I'm going to open. And I'm going to go up to Object. Object. Fitting. Fill frame proportionately. And if you still see it's pixelated, go up to View, Display Performance, and make sure High Quality Display is chosen. The pixelation should go away because I think these are high res. Okay, so now I might bleed. The trim edge is where the black line is. That's where it will be trimmed. And now I'm going to place I'm going to take the rectangle frame tool. I'm going to do it from my margin guide. I'm going to draw out a box, the right margin guide. I'm going to do Command D, and I'm going to place my TIFF file in here. Now notice that there's white in the background, so we want to get rid of that. We don't want that to be in there. if we are to place the AI file in there, it doesn't have the white in there. And, you know, that is also acceptable too. You can definitely do that. It's probably not the best way to go though. Let me go back to my AI file. We're placing this without having the background display here. Okay, so we don't really want to save this out as, let me see if we can save this out as a TIFF still. This is the tricky part. Let's see. No, I don't want that. You can do EPS too. I think the background goes in that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back into Photoshop. We're going to take that TIFF file into Photoshop. This is how you do it. So in Photoshop, I kind of skipped a step here. I apologize. After you create your TIFF file in Illustrator, you're going to want to open up the TIFF file in Photoshop. Like one more step, guys. You can eliminate the background this way. So you just go File, Open, in Photoshop, open up your TIFF file. Let me just see something real quick. Okay, so what we'll need to do is we'll just need to take out the white. Just go ahead and take your magic wand tool, which is in your toolbox. You'll click on the white and just go ahead and delete it. You might need to click in the inside of the O and delete, hit delete on your keyboard in the A. Okay, so that's all you have to do. Just click on the white and that's good. Just click save after you're done. It's a TIFF file. So then when you import that into your InDesign file, of course, delete that. Let me go back to Photoshop. Sometimes it didn't save over. Let me do save as again. TIFF. Save transparency. That's what I didn't know. Okay. Let me show you guys what I just did. When you're in Photoshop and you save it as a TIFF, remember how I chose the Mac here? Make sure you save transparency and click OK. Sorry, guys. I'm doing a million different things here and I'm probably confusing you. So then when you go Command D to go file place the TIFF, that should be now without the background. Okay. Any questions about that? I know I kind of was going back and forth, but I forgot you cannot use a ping file for this because the pings are, ping files will not convert to CMYK. So you'll have a problem with that if you're, once you do try to package your file together. So just kind of an FYI there. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and copy the headline. So I need to copy it. You can't see what I'm doing, but I copied it off of the project specs. I'm going to draw out my text box. I'm going to paste it in here just to get it in here. Okay, we'll worry about changing that here in a second. Let me get the body copy in here. So I'm just copying and pasting it from the actual project specs. Call to action. You don't have to bring in the call to action words, like it says call to action and then there's a hyphen. Don't bring that in, just have the call to action. So it should just be this. Visit Aqua Excursions for more information. I've had students that leave the call to action part, and you don't really need that. Okay, now you get to think about, okay, how do I tie this in with my same colors in my brand while making it able to be readable and effective? So let me bring up my swatches. You don't have to necessarily always use the brand colors, you know, for this. You don't have to use, but I would either stick with the brand colors or use black and white with it so that it's not too far away from the brand. You know, you're not using totally different colors, 3 different colors. All right. So what you're going to do is you're going to try to figure out a way that this looks good, you know, using all your design principles. Make this a little bit bigger. So go ahead and start designing this to what you think looks good. I'm just going to, oops, change this up just a little bit here. So I'm making that bigger. I'm going to pull down, oops, call out. I'm going to put down at the bottom. You can put the logo at the bottom too. Just kind of play around with it, see what works. I'm going to make this in white. Maybe a little smaller here. Okay. Maybe this is in either, take your eyedropper tool and sample. Oh, I forgot the white and the A there. That was my bad there. Take your eyedropper tool to sample the colors, and then you could drag them into your, or double click on, oops, double click onto them to add to the swatch, CMYK swatch area. Yeah, I forgot to take this A out, sorry. The white and the A out. Here's that, and then the red. I'm adding the swatches in here so that I can easily change what I need to change. Like I can either change that to that or whatever looks good. All right. Let's do, well, I said no more than 13. This is 14. I would say no more than 14 for the body copy. You don't want it to get too big. You know, it's a poster, but it's body copy too. It shouldn't be super, super big. Let me name this here before I go any further. Assessment 2, desktop. You can add in elements like, say if you want to do color bar down here, you definitely can do a color bar, maybe for the copy. Just make sure you bleed it off if that's kind of the way you want to go. So maybe I'm doing this red color bar. Maybe I'll tint it back a little bit. It kind of looks stupid like that. Let me try something else here or make it transparent. Right there. I say stupid, but you know what I mean. It's not stupid. It's just looks not good in pink. All right. So maybe what I'll do, let me try blue because it might stand out a little bit better. I'm going to pull this in a little bit so that it's not such a long line length. Read the copy, see if it makes sense for where it's breaking. So this says, sign up for this unique experience and join us as you paddle off into the sunset, enjoying relaxing scenery. That's one sentence. Advanced reservations required, family adventure packages available. You can emphasize those. Maybe the last 2 sentences you maybe want to make bold and italic. You know, so that it's differentiated in a way. I may make this a little bigger. Let's try 16. I know I was telling you guys not to go crazy, but this seems like it might need to be a little bigger. And then you kind of balance everything out from there. So pull in your bar. If it looks like it needs to be pulled in, you can throw drop shadows, go up to object effects, drop shadow, and some of your, you know, this information maybe here would need a drop shadow, subtle drop shadow, to just kind of make it a little bit more contrasted. Let me get rid of all the other stuff here so you guys can see the final result here. I'm gonna pull this down and have a little bit more space in here. Have enough space in between the logo and the headline so that, you know, it's spaced out, it has enough pause in between, but it kind of all makes sense. So something like that would definitely work. You don't have to necessarily have the logo up here. You could switch this around. Oops. Where'd my logo go? If it works, you know, it might not work here because of the excursions where it is hard to see. So I might need to, you know, kind of figure out a way to make that work. And there are ways that you can do that. And let me show you a trick here. So if you did want your logo down here and say it doesn't work on your particular layout, just move these up so it's makes sense here. Move that down close to the logo. That looks pretty good. So if you wanted to do something like this, what I would say is take your rectangle, fill it with maybe white or black. I would do white in this case just because I think that would work best. Go ahead into your gradient feather tool. It's right next to your gradient tool in InDesign. And you can go ahead and gradiate this by just pulling up based on the gradient that you want. You can have it darker, you know, wherever your pointer is. The more higher that you are and you click up, the darker the color will be. So you can kind of play around with that. Hold the shift key to pull it into place. And I need this to be over top. So what I'm going to do, before I do anything else, I'm going to select the logo, arrange, bring to front. Go ahead and bring that box back up. So that's a little trick. Let me bring this up a little bit though. That is a little trick for you guys. I do this all the time in magazine design, especially, you know, for cover shots. I do a lot of that type of finagling because there's a lot of copy that I need to fit into a magazine page. But, you know, it needs to be readable. So that's a good trick to make it all kind of work. Okay, so if you kind of find yourself in that same position, you might need to do something like that. Thanks. All right, so let's say this is it. This is what we want to go with. This looks great. I got compliments already. Save it. Save the InDesign file. Now, the work in here, let me go back to the pre-press requirements. Let's take a look at that so we can understand what we're doing here. This is kind of where it gets tricky. Okay, so everything here I did. Oh, I didn't convert it to CMYK. I'm going to show you that first. I apologize. I didn't do that. So I'll show you that first. And then we're gonna relink that so we'll be good. We're gonna package for print. We're gonna export your InDesign file as a press quality PDF with crop marks and bleeds. Press quality, not print quality. And that should be good. So let's go back. Let me rewind because I didn't get to do this. This image here, whatever images that you use, you need to pull them up into Photoshop first. This is something that designers do all the time. Let me get rid of this logo here. So let's open up that image that I just placed in there. This one. Let's open up that original image. We're going to rename it. So when you open this up, go ahead and do a check. Go up to image and go to image mode and see how it says CMYK. or I'm sorry, RGB, and it's check mark, we want CMYK. So go ahead and just choose CMYK, and that is in your image mode, and it should be converted to CMYK. Now go back up to image, go to image size, and check out your resolution. If it's not at 300, you'll need to change that pixels per inch. So you can type that in there if that needs to change to 300, but that's already set, so we're good. So I'm just gonna save this as Final Kayak and put it on my desktop. And we're gonna save this as a TIFF file too, not a JPEG. Go back into your Illustrator. I'm sorry, InDesign file. I'm going back and forth. And I'm gonna trade this out. So I'm gonna do Command D to like grab that final TIFF to place it in there. So what you would do is just do that all first and then place this in here, because I didn't quite do it in the order that it should have been done. Whoops. So this is now CMYK image in there. My logo is CMYK. I just have to knock out the little white part in there. Everything else should be CMYK. Save. I think my color space is CMYK. These are color settings. Yeah, okay. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna package this. So we're gonna go File, Package. This is when you're ready to go. File, Package. It's gonna give you a summary of what's all in here. It's telling me I have 4 process inks. Why do I have process in there? Oh, process, yeah, I'm good. 2 links found, everything looks good. Fonts, these are all the fonts are included. Links and images, make sure that these are all CMYK and they're all linked. You have no issues going on. CMYK. And hit package. This is if you want to name your file. You're going to just hit continue is fine. This is where you need to pay attention, okay? So down here, before you click package, make sure that all of these are checked. So copy fonts. Now, this is somewhere, and I just noticed that somebody was talking about Typekit. When you package, this might be checked. You might need to just uncheck that. That might be the thing that you need to do in order to have the Typekit fonts included. Possibly. Okay, copy links, graphics, update graphic links in package. Looks good. Documentation, hyphenation, include fonts. It's good. Include IDML, and that's kind of like your copy. Include PDF print, but we want to make sure that this says print. So if this is anything other than press quality, you need to click down on here and choose press quality. Okay, and then hit package. Now it might take a little long because it's kind of compiling everything together. Okay, stop sharing. I'm going to share my desktop and show you what I did here. Give me 1 second. I'll show you exactly what was saved. Okay, so this is what for assignment 1 or assignment 2. My package folder that I just did is here. It's all in this folder. Looks like a folder. I'm going to double click on it. So it has my IDM file. So if I were to close out of here, this would disappear. I'll show you how that works. It's just telling me, hey, you have this document open, and that should disappear. Oh, no, it doesn't disappear. That's okay. InDesign file, that's your native file that's included in the folder. This is your press quality PDF, so you can go ahead and double click on that just to make sure everything looks good. Oh, I forgot to do something. Look, I don't have my bleeds on there, so I gotta go back. So we'll go back and fix that. Document fonts, instructions, and links. Okay, well, I'm glad I did that because I did it wrong. So let me open up my InDesign file. Let me open up the one that's packaged in here. So if you open up your PDF and you notice there's no crop bleed marks, go ahead and open up that InDesign file like I'm doing here, and let's do that. Go File, Package again, Package, Continue. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna do, I think I modified this so that it was, and now I lost my modified press quality. Okay, so let me show you how to change that. Give me 1 second, you guys. This is all just, yeah, I'm gonna have to do it at the end of, this is gonna be a little tricky. Give me 1 second here. Okay, so I'm gonna go to File, Adobe PDF Presets, Press Quality. And I don't know if this is gonna allow me to do bleeds on here. Okay, it is. Okay. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna open up your InDesign file if it doesn't show the bleeds. Go back up to File, Adobe PDF Presets, and go to Press Quality. You're gonna save this in your folder that you created, your zipped folder. Well, it's not zipped yet, but your folder that's packaged, Replace. And this will open up, and this is exactly what you want, because you want to go into your marks and bleeds on the left side here. It says marks and bleeds. And we want to choose crop marks. So we want to check that, and we want to check bleed marks. And click Export. For some reason, I didn't have that in my PDF preset, so I had to change it in that way. And yours might be the same way. So when I go back into this folder that I just packaged, and I open up my PDF, it should have my crops and my bleeds kind of selected. See how different it looks? Here's my crop, my bleeds are in there. So there you go. So it should look similar to that. It's all in this folder now, all right here. So all I need to do is zip it. So I'm going to choose Control, click, compress, or I think you could just go up to here, up to File if you want to, and compress. And again, I would change this to very simplified name. You could keep the folder, you know, obviously your folder, but the zipped folder I would just keep as your name. Maybe do assessment 2 or something, so you know the differences between your assignment 2 and your assessment 2. And that's what you would submit. I don't think that's really big. Let me see, Command I for file information. Oh, it is. It's going to be a little bit bigger because you're using a high resolution image and you're importing a TIFF file, which is a big file. That's the only downfall of a TIFF image is it's larger than normal, but it prints really good quality images if they're sharp and good from the beginning. If you do a JPEG or a PNG file, that, you know, it could take away from the quality of the image when printed because it's a more of a condensed, compressed file. You know, you're kind of throwing out pixel information to compress it. So that's why, you know, it's not as large file size wise. But printing wise, it's not the best way to go for final images placed in print. Any questions about what I just went over? I know there's a lot of information, some stuff I had to kind of go back to show you how to redo it, so I apologize about that. But I want to show you guys the right way, and sometimes it just takes going back and forth to get there. Okay, so it tells you to do 2 separate files. One is a package folder named Assessment 2, and then the other one's the press quality PDF. You can just put that press quality PDF in the package folder like I did. That's fine. You don't have to have it separate from each other. Okay. All right, guys. Well, we got about 5 minutes left. If you guys want to bring up anything, let me know. Any questions, review anything. If not, we'll wrap it up. And we'll call it week 2 lecture is over. I think that's all the slides I have too. Let me see. Oh, now I have the color review, but we can do that later. It's pretty much review of what you guys learned so far from week 1. So it's a little review. All right, guys. Amanda, Julia, Micaiah, thank you for joining me. And for those of you who are listening, thanks for listening to the recording. I have this video posted probably within the next hour on YouTube, and I'll have it in the lecture area so you guys can review it. All right, thank you guys. You have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys in the boards for discussion, maybe tomorrow morning for the multi-session if you need extra help. All right, have a great day. Thanks, guys.